Is it working? Hey guys, so let's see, it's beginning of August and summer break has hit. I've got a lot, well not a lot, yeah, like somewhere around 4 or 5 students taking the entire month off, which is pretty standard. It's kind of a hit in income, but you know, that's their right. That's what you get when you charge by the month. But that seems to be the most stable model among the ones I know of, at least. Student numbers are pretty stable. I've had a few come and go in the past few months. So I'm kind of thinking about what's next, and it's remarkably difficult to, in my experience, increase your student numbers more than about 60 or so. It seems to kind of flatten out there, and I think part of the issue is it's just me doing it. So space is limited, and there may also be some apprehension, unspoken of course, as most things in Japan are, about studying with an American male. So I'm considering two things. One is hiring a Japanese, female Japanese teacher to specialize in Eiken, which seems to be a really popular niche. My wife keeps saying I should do that. So I'm putting the feelers out. There's a woman who lives nearby. She actually used to be a student. She's a local mom. She's got 3 kids. Her youngest, and they're kind of, my kids and her kids' age kind of crossover. So that would be cool. That means when, like, on Mondays in the evenings, and also Tuesdays part of the time, and Wednesdays and Fridays after 7. I could have someone else teach while I go home with my family, or do software development stuff here. And it would also create a whole new aspect for the school where people could learn about it and experience it through a different channel, which is good. I mean, I look back over the past almost 5 years now, and it's pretty remarkable. I mean, what I took on, I sometimes forget like what a relatively crazy thing that was to do. But I think anytime you want to start a business, there is a relative level of risk, you know. Sometimes, but it's just how it goes. So the school is established. Last year seemed to be the peak when things, just like the income just went up and up. And this year is roughly the same. And the good part is I'm making a fairly good living, by Japanese standards at least. And I'm not teaching around the clock, but I would like this place to somehow serve the community more without necessarily taking more of my time and energy. Because I'll be honest, I mean, sometimes I just get to the point where I'm really bored with teaching, and I struggle with that because it's not fair to the students. You know, and I've noticed when I first started, what I did in the lessons compared to now, things have kind of become kind of set, and so it needs to change. So that's what I'm thinking on one aspect, and the other aspect is I've done some calculations, and I'm going to increase the length of children's lessons by 5 minutes, so that would be an extra 20 minutes a month on average, and raise the prices accordingly based on basically the price per minute. You take the tuition in yen and divide that by the number of minutes they're in class in a month, and then you multiply that by 45 to get current rates, and then 50 to get the new rates. And the new rate would equal roughly $400 a month in new revenue, without the number of students changing. So originally I was thinking, oh, I'll just raise the prices and they'll understand. But I've really been kind of contemplating how can I increase the value or show something from my end, and I think just tacking on another 5 minutes to the lessons would make all the difference. and it would allow me, hopefully, to finally stop working on Sundays, which is just doing my head in. Let me just see real quick. Yeah, that would do it. Relatively, I think. I could still pick up things here and there, but yeah. So it's really time. I'm thinking about the next step. My reform loan will be paid off at the end of next month, end of September. So that'll be 4 years of paying roughly $300 a month every month. But in Japan, they don't charge it by the month. They have the payments listed. I think there's like 45 of them, 49, sorry. And sometimes one month it'll be 2 payments, the next month it'll be 0. My last month I have to make 3 payments at once. That's going to free up some capital, and the price increase will also free up some capital, generate capital rather. And hopefully a new teacher coming in, depending on how busy she gets, will also generate revenue, right? So there's things I want to try, like this space behind me, this wall, actually divides the kind of front half of the building down the middle, and there's just basically a duplicate space, same basic footprint of my school on the other side. It's conceivable that I might be able to eventually replace myself, although I'm not sure. I really designed this school to be just very, very functional, very minimal. Which was a smart idea in the beginning, but now I'm just trying to think about the next step, because I'm not going to close it, I'm not going to get rid of it, but I'd like to kind of, I guess for lack of a better word, squeeze more out of it without ripping people off or just being overtly selfish about it. You want to give something back. And on top of that, I'm also considering a yearly materials fee. I've been kind of conversing online with other school owners and doing my research on the prices, and my school is actually really cheap compared to the competition. There's a few places that are less than what I do, but not very many. Most of them are more expensive, and some by a lot. So I don't think it would be unreasonable to charge, say, a 3,000 yen fee once a month. Once a year, to just give me a quick injection of cash, because there's a lot of upkeep. Like the couches are getting beat up, kids keep writing on them with markers. It just doesn't come out. I want to replace the tables in the classroom. Right now they're this white, typical office-y looking topped tables. I'd like to put some wood top tables in. I think that would completely change the atmosphere and make it a lot kind of more earthy and less sleepy. I want to change my sign, and lots of little things like that. So I think raising kids' prices and extending the times, and then having a teacher come in whenever there's lessons for ACAN, and then the materials fee, and then not having to pay this loan anymore, would see a significant increase in income without a loss of value. So you need that. If you're running your own business, there should be, and it's successful, I think there should be a corresponding quality of life. I barely ever get home. I get home like on average once every 2+ years, and I've got 3 kids. We're sending them to a private English school, and it's really, really hard to save anything. I'm just constantly working all the time, so it's time to reassess and kind of optimize things. for a better lifestyle, and hopefully a way for the school to contact with the community more deeply. I think having Japanese staff would be a really smart move, depending on her schedule, because Japanese teachers are generally desired as Eiken teachers, because the Eiken is a test designed in Japan for Japanese people. In my opinion, it's much more comprehensive than the TOEIC, because it tests speaking and writing, where the TOEIC doesn't. So, and then, you know, it'd just be the moms and stuff would kind of be less apprehensive, I think. I'm not saying I've had issues with that, but I have noticed just Japanese people in general can be intimidated by like a, you know, an athletic male foreigner, and so I think having that intermediary would be really helpful, just in terms of strengthening the bond to the community. And she could teach, you know, junior high, high school girls and stuff. I had a really weird issue a couple weeks ago now, where two junior high girls finished their lesson. One of them had been coming here as an elementary student for the better part of 3 years, at least 2. And then she quit when she started junior high, which happens a lot. It is a big change in lifestyle for the kids. They get a lot busier. And then she came back like 3 months into the school year or something. And I had a friend with her. And one night they finished class and they walk off into the night. I said, "Good night." And then about 20 minutes later, her mom came in and was just saying, "Oh, where's my daughter?" I said, "Oh, they just left." It's kind of not my responsibility, right? And so I finished up work. That was my last class. Closed the school, and I was walking to the parking lot, and the mom is standing there still without her daughter. And I just asked her what's going on, and I had to go pick up my kids from it's called Kumon, this local juku. They're 5 and 4. They're really little, so they can't come by themselves. So I picked them up. I just told the mom, "Well, okay, just give me a call or contact me when you know, you find your daughter." I should have just called my wife and said, "Go pick up the kids. I'm gonna wait here. There's something weird going down." So anyways, when I picked up the kids, I came back and everybody was gone from the parking lot. But this is another dumb mistake. I didn't have that mom's phone number because she was a referral from another mom. And anyways, long story short, it created a lot of awkwardness, and I felt like the mom was a little bit suspicious of me. And I never really found out what's happening, or what happened rather. And it's an extremely small town, and most of my students come from the junior high and the elementary school right in the vicinity. And I don't have anyone to defend me. You know, if something like that were to happen again, it could be a really, really big problem. You know, the Japanese are they're very rule conscious and very generally like benign, but they're really lacking in communication skills in terms of finding out what actually happened and talking directly with people who are involved. And I've had to navigate some really, really weird people in my time here running this school. I mean, it's the simplest thing to just say like, "Oh, why are you here?" or "What are you doing here?" But instead they'll like hide behind the curtains, or they'll get all intimidating and they'll call the police, and it's a really just a weird thing. So that was an experience. I felt like I didn't know what to do. You know, it was this confluence of just awkward events that were beyond my control, and I never found out what happened. But the mother emailed me, and of course it went into my spam box, so I didn't even see it till like a week later. And I actually went down to the junior high the next day and just said, you know, "Did she come in today?" Because I have no idea what happened last night, and they confirmed that she was there. And I found the mail like a week later, and so my point is, Japanese society can be very, very weird to deal with, and it's very helpful to have a Japanese on your side in a professional sense, because they value their privacy, but they'll also make sometimes just completely ludicrous, hysterical assumptions without ever confirming any of it. So that's something to watch out for. So that's where I'm at. Hopefully, she got back to me. There's one the local mom I mentioned who's interested. She might be coming in today to chat with me, and we'll see where it goes. She's an ideal candidate. She lives like literally a stone's throw away, and she's got a lot more free time now because all of her kids are in school. The youngest are in elementary school, and I think one's in junior high. So that's the perfect timing where she can really be like, oh, I can get a part-time job, and if it were right here, you know, it'd be great. And I said, if you are interested, you know, your kids can come to group lessons for free, right? So that would be kind of a win-win for everybody. She could send all 3 of her kids to the English classes and make a little money and still be kind of in the area. You know, she could totally just walk here. So hopefully she'll be interested. She said she's kind of lacking in confidence, but I had her as a student and think, you know, your average ACHEM teacher doesn't have to be, you know, completely fluent. It's just, you know, better than the student. So we'll see how it goes. So I think if that's probably long enough, I've jabbered. So price increases, new fees, hopefully a new teacher, and that will be that. Okay, so until next time.